there, and you are now behind enemy lines. What's going on, everybody? Gene Berardelli flying solo for the moment. Ross Galloway cannot make it tonight. He's doing some secret stuff, and my co-host is texting me right now. He's trying to get his camera in order. We're going to have Rowdy Rick Robinson coming on in a little bit, so he just told me to hang out for a second. We're going to let everybody kind of get into the room here a little bit. It's been a minute since we've done one of these live shows. Unfortunately, I had some real life things to deal with my job and some critical deadlines for clients. You can't really mess those up and say, well, I was off concentrating on my web show. So, it happens here. We're going to be talking about a lot of different topics, most of them dealing with Trump. But before we get to that, let's welcome in our guest co-host.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Apparently, he can't get his camera going. It's Rick Robinson. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Listen, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We got comments coming in already about one of the topics we're going to be discussing, which is the comments from the Trump administration concerning the Jeffrey Epstein case. We put the question in our title about Trump calling it a hoax. Freeman Pennington, who is a regular commenter on all of our shows, whether they're on demand or live, I think he's answering that question. He's saying, nope. What Trump pointed out is that the FBI has already destroyed the Epstein list. You will never see it. They're going to come up with a fake list with the names and enemies of the deep state on it. So that's his opinion on that. And then he continues to go on to say, all of you that are blaming Trump and Republicans for this may as well go vote for the Democrats. You just handed this country over to. Okay, I don't want anybody to think that we're blaming anyone here. We're going to get into the topic going forward. We got Zelda in the chat saying hi to me and Rick, and I'll put them up on the screen right now. Hey, Zelda. And for Rick, too, whatever. Rick, are you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm all right. Since I'm simulcasting in two places, my camera's being finicky, so I think I can fix it in a second, but I got to...
Take your time. You know what? If you take your time with this, because believe it or not, this gives me time to handle some business here on the show. Some business that we've never done here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to all of you who have been subscribing and liking and sharing. We've gotten the attention of our very first sponsor. And now it's up to me to learn how to do a live read of all this, folks. Everyone say hello to our friends at Freedom Chat. I'm going to pull up their website right now because, frankly, I was unprepared for this live read, but I'm going to try to do my best I can here. It's new stuff. I'm going to screw it up the first time. Rick just left us, so that's even worse. Let me share my screen here and introduce you all to the best new messenger app out there. This is Freedom Chat. You can check them out at freedomchat.com. Let me explain to you what this is. Freedom Chat is a messenger app built for those of you who, like me, like you, those of us who still believe in free speech and the right to privacy. The team behind Freedom Chat has launched the app in its alpha version. Now, old guy like me, alpha version, that basically means it's brand spanking new out of the box. We're ready to kick the tires and light the fires here and see what it's all about. I really want you guys to go to wherever you download your apps, whether it be for your Apple or your Android device, and download Freedom Chat. Here's why. Freedom Chat, and I've been testing it out myself, it's faster, more intuitive, and far more secure than the so-called free messenger apps out there that are really just surveillance tools. I think Freeman was talking about his theories on what was going on with Trump and Epstein, and there may be fake lists out there. Freedom Chat would really be the best mechanism for speaking one-to-one with people because Freedom Chat doesn't track you, doesn't mine your data, and they don't listen in on your conversations. Remember the whole Signal Gate thing? I guarantee you that wouldn't happen on Freedom Chat unless someone added a reporter who was on Freedom Chat into a conversation or something. But just wanted to let you know that. The reason why I'm so excited about Freedom Chat, folks, is that They use end-to-end encrypted messaging. This isn't something that is just like a fly-by-night app that just allows you to message whoever. Everything's encrypted. I had long conversations with people over at Freedom Chat about this. I tested it out myself. I saw it myself. It's absolutely secure. Screenshots are blocked, and your privacy, again, is respected. It is not up for sale to the highest bidder. But here's the best part. While you're on Freedom Chat, we have a channel on there now for Buffoon of the Week. So in addition to doing what they do for encrypting messages, Freedom Chat will also be there for us as a community, creating for us the ability to speak to each other. So what I can do on Freedom Chat is I can now go and I can look at content I haven't put out yet. I can look at what exclusives I want to give you behind the scenes. Rick's back with us now, and we can have.
He never left. Someone kicked me.
I did not kick you at all. Stop that right now. I'm telling everybody about our sponsor. You're screwing it up. Stop it. So with Freedom Chat, we have the ability to send you exclusive content you won't see on YouTube, Rumble, or X. They'll be on our channel that you'll join. And also, I'll personally be on there as well, that you can contact me through my account, and we can talk about show ideas or anything you want to talk about. So feel free to check out Freedom Chat. Download the app. You can do it through your store or at freedomchat.com. I'm going to try to get Rick on there very soon as well. You got to get on this thing, man. It's pretty cool.
Gene's got a sponsor and got to be all official and stuff now.
I gotta mind my P's and my Q's now. It's crazy. And by the way, of course, there's always the normal grift we do here on the show, folks. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, on Rumble, follow us on X, wherever you're watching. Do all the stuff that you normally do on social media to do that. And later on the show, for the middle of the show grift, we're going to be talking about some new merch that dropped, which I think you guys are going to like. But enough with that. Let's finally get on with things. We got a lot of people watching right now. I want to talk about, Rick, all of the news we've been hearing about the Trump administration and the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case and the Ghislaine Maxwell trial and all that, because of all the news coming out about there never was a list, or that maybe it was destroyed like Freeman Pennington was saying. What are you making of all this, and Trump coming out today talking about how it's a hoax?
Well, I mean, he did say hoax, but he also used some more colorful language too. I will refrain since it's your show, but I talked about it a little bit this last hour. Everybody seems to forget everything that we're now starting to understand that the CIA and the FBI were trying to do, even when the man was still just a candidate.
Yeah.
So the fact that, I mean, think about this for a second. Mm-hmm. They didn't expect him to win. Then he wins. Then they have 2 months from the time that they know he's won before he's sworn in. First things first, if the man was on the list, if there was a list, do you really think the Democrats, when Biden came into office, wouldn't have said, "Oh, look what we found"? But here's the other thing.
It would have been everywhere. Absolutely.
Even if that's the case, it would have been mutually assured destruction. So you cannot tell me that the people that with all the levers of power that knew they were on these lists, if there was such a list ever, didn't do everything they could, in that 2 month run up to Trump becoming president, because that was he started talking about it in his first term, that he wanted to get to the bottom of all of that stuff because it was something the Democrats were trying to use against him even back then. He's like, no, that dude, I kicked him out of my properties. He's not even allowed to be around me anymore. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But again, for 2 months, they had free reign to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. If there was a list, I guarantee you it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing.
Right.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so what I was going to just bring up is I for those people, I just want to get everybody caught up. For people who don't know what I'm talking about as far as Trump saying that it's a hoax, and I know that Freeman is all over this in the comments right now. I want to show everyone what Trump said and how he expounded upon his previous statement that this was a hoax. Take a
I
look
know
at
you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen
It's
of
not
that?
the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him, and it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city.
All right. So Trump is being Trump right here and meandering around a whole bunch of different topics, but he's not really answering what the basis is that he thinks this whole Epstein thing is a hoax. And by handling it this way, he's feeding into that Democrat narrative. I don't think that he really knows what's going on with the list other than what he's been told by the DOJ. I think you're correct, Rick, in saying that if his name was anywhere on any list like that, then certainly it would have been weaponized in 2024. I just don't think that he's doing himself any favor here.
No, he's definitely not. And that's my thing, and this is something that I've been hearing from other people in these circles. He needs to change his messaging tact here, because it's not just enough to say, well, it's a hoax, because now you need to start explaining to people exactly why you think it was a hoax to begin with, not just, well, it's always been a hoax. It was a Democrat ploy, just like the Russia thing, just like the laptop. No, that's not good enough, because your own folks were saying, if we get you elected, you're going to let us know the truth about what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, at some point, the media started trying to push the idea that there was some sort of a list. And I think that's where we, and some of us even doing this, kind of lost our way a little bit, because I'll admit, the people that I was getting the information from when I started talking about it, I assumed they had some idea of what they were talking about, but now it appears that maybe they did not. I think, and there's another attorney friend of mine who's pointed out, that a lot of people, when they think about the list, they're thinking about the redacted flight logs, they're thinking about this, or thinking about other pieces of information. That's not how the media portrayed it, though. It's not like the dude had a Rolodex. But even if he did, it doesn't exist anymore. There's no way.
well, one person that would know whether there's a list, and the coffee grinder, one of our regular commenters here, brings this up. Alan Dershowitz was Epstein's defense attorney on this. He explained that he believes is the list that, pronouns, pal. Epstein's defense attorney has explained what he believes is the list that all are talking about. He has seen the evidence firsthand as first chair attorney. Yeah, but he's duty bound not to be able to disclose anything at this point. I'm not so sure. Okay, another comment from Court Grinder. The list is actually the testimony from victims that has been sealed by 2 judges in New York. Not even the DOJ can release the info. That could well be, but that also leads to a question that I think people are reasonably asking. Pam Bondi said everything was on her desk, right? Let's relive this clip from back in February. But before that, you wanted to say something, pal.
Oh, no, because I knew you were going. Go ahead and roll the clip.
Well, you think you run things here? This is my show.
They may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Yeah, and when we check back with it, this is what we're dealing with right now. Coffee Grinder reminds me that Alan Dershowitz is a party to a gag order in People's Republic of New York as well. Good catch there, by the way, pal. I really appreciate that. Pam Bondi saying it's on my desk, I think has been taken too literally.
Yeah.
I don't think that...
I agree.
I think it meant that, this is on the top of my list to deal with, or as Karine Jean-Pierre would say, it's on top of mind, or something like that. I'm not trying to be an apologist, but because I am a lawyer, I say things like that to clients and to my bosses all the time. Yeah, it's on my desk. I'm dealing with it right now. Or, yeah, I'm well aware of that, and I'll be handling that soon. I can understand that, but she, again, not doing any favors with such a hot button topic.
Well, no, I mean, and specifically, if you pay, and this is one of those things where, again, I pick up on it because words matter. If you'll notice, the reporter, Fox News, was the one who asked, do you have the Epstein list? And she said, well, it's on my desk. But if you'll notice, everything else she said was about the JFK files, this file. So I don't think she caught the part specifically about the list. I really don't think that she did, because she never separated out the two. So I think in her mind, when she heard Epstein, she was thinking the file, and that was, as far as she knew at the time, on her desk. She then figured out that there were things that the SDNY didn't turn over. So then they got that. And then apparently it's turned out that all that was a bunch of filth on a computer that can't be released anyway. And then we go back to the Dershowitz gag order that's being talked about in the chat right now. Even if these things exist, if they're being suppressed, nobody can talk about them.
Yeah. Well, and if they were under federal control, they could be declassified. So that could happen. I think this truth to what you said in two respects. The first thing is, if there was anything Trump related in anything in the Jeff Epstein files, we would have known about it already. It would have been leaked. It would have been released. Something would have happened somewhere. And the second thing is, maybe something did happen in between Election Day and Inauguration Day. You know, we've seen before that the FBI, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were talking about, fortification of, we would stop President Trump and things like that. So because we have statements like that on the record from the previous administration, it is not above suspicion to think that something could have been done in that interim transition period. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist on this. I want to deal in facts, but we're not getting facts from anybody, which lends to this sort of, musing.
Well, think about this from another perspective, though. We've had that same transition now happen twice, separated by 4 years. So let's assume for a moment that maybe they didn't do anything with the information the first time, but because his first administration was so bogged down with the Russia hoax and people within his own cabinet that were fighting him and his own party being against half the things that he wanted to do, that he wasn't ever able to really bring that up. But he'd already mentioned that he had planned on looking into it in his second term as he was starting to try to run for president again. But then we now had the halftime show, the Joe Biden debacle.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to get low like you. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shut up.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna get lower. I'm getting lower.
Asshole. Anyway, but yeah. So no, seriously. So even if they didn't do anything in the 2-month run up to his first inauguration, you're going to tell me that they didn't do anything for the 4 years that, the Democrats were in charge of everything? I mean, for 2 years, for the first 2 years, they were in charge of every damn thing. So you're telling me they weren't finding ways to clean house enough to make sure that if there was anything incriminating, it was going away? I mean, and then even if they didn't do that, then there's another 2-month run up, and his entire campaign is, if I get elected again, you guys are going to know the truth about Jeffrey Epstein. You're telling me that even if they didn't do anything then for the 2 months between the time that he was elected and the time that he was sworn in, they didn't go, fire up the shredders, boys. We're in trouble if we don't. Yeah, seriously?
It's not unreasonable to discuss, given what we know from the past. I mean, the past informs the future in that respect. But Republicans, again, this Trump and Republicans in general did not do themselves any favors here in the way that they've been handling this. I want to go to this clip. Credit to Benny Johnson for this exclusive he had with Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. Before there was a procedural vote in the House that affected the Epstein list and releasing it and the controversy on that, Benny Johnson spoke with the Speaker about his position on what's going on with this Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
this is sort of on the heels of something else that a lot of people are asking questions about. And because we've been lied to by our federal government for so long, I feel like there's some type of like there's a pain point, right? And a pressure cooker that gets heated up on issues like the Epstein issue, right? And obviously that's something that's taken over a lot of the online dialogue. I have a question here about it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell potentially before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about.
So this interview happened. And then later that same day, there was a vote on the floor that the Democrats put out there saying the Republicans just unanimously voted against releasing anything regarding Jeffrey Epstein.
But that wasn't the whole story.
That wasn't the whole story, as explained by Marjorie Taylor Greene in this clip.
Something real quick.
Please.
So it's being reported that House Republicans unanimously voted to block the release of the Epstein files, and I want to straighten out the record right now. That is not true. If I could vote, okay. If I could vote to release the Epstein files, guys, you would have my vote. I would vote yes. Here's what just happened. It was a procedural vote, and we have these all the time. It's called a PQ. It's voting on the previous question. And if the Democrats had won the previous question, which I know sounds insane, it's one of these crazy rules in the House that are hard to understand, that means they would control the House floor. And that means they could bring up anything. They could bring up impeachment articles against President Trump. They could bring up a whole package of insane Democrat agenda items and force votes on the House floor on these things. That's what we voted against. We never allowed Democrats to have control of the House floor because we control the House floor.
Yes.
So it's a misunderstanding, and I just wanted to straighten that out.
Okay.
Dun,
So
dun,
I mean
dun.
that comes from Marjorie Taylor Greene, but but in this case she's accurate. That's exactly what happened. It was a procedural vote. And I believe right now there is a bill that has been submitted. I think it was by, oh God, who is it by? I just lost it out of my head. From Kentucky.
Outsiders.
It just flew out of my head. What's his name? That Donald Trump doesn't like now.
Oh, Massey?
Yeah, Thomas Massey. Thank you. Woo. Brain fart, live on air. Gotta love it. Yeah, Massey, I think Massey and another gentleman, I think Tim Burchett, have submitted a bill to release the Epstein files. So that's going to be pending. Who knows what traction that will get. But again, I don't really care so much about whether or not the files are going to be released this week, next week, the week after. I care about optics. One of the things we do here on the Buffoon of the Week channel is we look at the political optics of people's actions and determine whether or not they're stupid or not. The optics of Mike Johnson saying that he's for transparency and then this procedural vote happening on the floor, followed up by everyone on social media dogpiling on Republicans about this, it was not a good look, and it certainly it rancored a lot of Republicans that care about this Epstein case.
No, I mean, I wish I could say you're wrong. And this is one of the things that I don't. While I feel like we've gotten miles better at it as far as conservatives, I think there's still lots of room for us to use social media to our advantage. Johnson should have taken to social media as soon as all of that stuff started blowing up and been like, "This is the reason why we voted against that," and explain it just as succinctly as Marjorie Taylor Greene did. I also heard something about this, and this may or may not be true because, like I said, I have been out of the loop for like a week, so I've been playing catch up for the last day and a half, getting ready to try to come back. But I also saw something about that this was attached as a rider to something else that had to do with like cryptocurrency or something anyway that they weren't going to vote for to begin with. I don't know if that's true or not, but I saw it floating around in an article somewhere and I haven't been able to research it. But either way, I mean, the procedural vote thing is not wrong. If they had managed to get that done, then they would have had control of the House floor to bring up anything they wanted to. So, of course, the party in charge is going to say no.
You know what, though? All he had to do was say, before going into that vote, put a message up on social media saying, "Listen, guys, they're going to try to tell you that that we're voting against releasing the Epstein files, but we're not doing that. Here's what we're doing. After all, you're the Speaker of the House. You control the agenda. You control what comes to the floor. Why not get the message out there beforehand? Why not get, the NRCC out there saying it? Why do you have to be reactionary to the movements of, if you want to call them leftists or liberals or whatever you want to call them? Why aren't you just being proactive and educating people, saying, hey, listen, a lot of people are going to be talking shit about us about this vote. Don't believe it. Here's why.
No, I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, whether it happened either before or after, there should have been some sort of a social media statement put out. Before definitely would have worked better, especially because they knew that Republicans weren't going to vote for it for the very same reason that Marjorie Taylor Greene just pointed out. So yeah, they probably should have been proactive with it and been like, this is what they're going to say. This is why this vote is likely about to go down this way, because if we do this in the way they want us to do it, then yeah. But again, for the people that want the red meat, I don't necessarily know if they would care that if this procedural vote had passed, then for the short term, for however long it takes, the Democrats would actually control the flow of information. I don't know enough about how that part of it works. But for the people that are just, seeing red at all of this, even if he had explained it, I don't know how many people would have been okay with even that explanation, because they have had all of this stuff pumped up for so long on both sides. Both sides were using the Epstein files as a cudgel over and over and over again, depending on who was in charge. And it was happening even on our side. I mean, I started even using the words Epstein list because everybody was. It never really occurred to me that there probably wasn't any type of a physical list because everybody was implying that there was. But the more I started thinking about it, when they started saying, well, there is no list, I'm like, there probably never actually really was a list per se. And this goes back to, I think it was Coffee Grinder pointing out that what they're talking about are the trial transcripts that have all been heavily redacted and heavily suppressed. And most people can't even talk about what's in them because gag orders, etc. And again, would releasing that really do any good for anyone, even if they did try to go through and redact the names of all the victims? Again, I'm not an attorney, but some of this stuff was happening when I was still in high school. I'm pretty sure some of it, the statute of limitations have got to have expired by now. Not on everything, but on a lot of it, I'm not even sure there's any ground there anymore.
Folks, Rick was in high school in like 1947. Just think about how long this has been going on.
Yeah, really? I'm not that old.
Oh my God. By the way, you invoked his name, so say his name and he appears. The Coffee Grinder getting back to us with more sleuthing here. All Alan Dershowitz would say is that most of the names of being with young girls are no longer in office or have already passed. That is all he would say. Have your own thoughts about what he is saying. Thank you for that great contribution, my friend. I really appreciate that. Also, by the way, Coffee Grinder, shoot me an email and just let me know how everything else is going that we've talked about previously. The problem with what we've been saying, though, I have to go back to what Trump said today about Republicans who are persisting in trying to push this forward. what he called them. I think I'm going to be able to pull it up back in the previous clip that we had here, and then we're going to do some grift in a second. But I want to see if I can find that portion that he said here.
Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters, and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and...
Stupid and foolish Republicans. I wonder if people who support Trump, just everyday people, hear something like that saying that you fell into the Democrats' net. I wonder what they think about that when this was such a talking point throughout 2024, and maybe a reason why some of those people voted for Donald Trump.
Well, if social media is any indication, a lot of folks are pissed.
Yeah. We've been seeing it on X a lot today. How do you walk that back?
I mean, that's the thing. He can't walk it back. This is what I was talking about, and I don't remember if I've said it on this show yet or not. But he really needs to work on the messaging here, because it shouldn't have been about his supporters falling into a Democratic trap. It should have been the point that this was information that was controlled completely by the Democrats for the first 2 years of Joe Biden's term. They did absolutely nothing with it. Then, even when Joe Biden was, for the second half of his term, they did absolutely nothing with it. So it's not just an us situation. This information has been being sat on for decades. And he could have even pointed out, because I'll be honest, I have been all over this stuff. I didn't know about the Dershowitz gag order till just now. I'll be honest, I didn't know. So there are things that he could have pointed out, been like, hey, there is no list. What they're talking about are the trial transcripts, and all of that stuff is being suppressed by a judge, and there's gag orders and everything else. So until we can figure out how to navigate all this stuff, we don't necessarily know what we're going to be able to do. But keep in mind, if there was any there, the Democrats had control for the first 2 years Biden was in office, and they did nothing with it either. So we need to start looking at that from both sides. And then, I don't know, I probably would have had one of my speechwriters look everything over, because I definitely would have pulled out the point about Dershowitz actually admitting that everybody that was involved is either no longer in office or dead. I mean, that could be a point of being able to, at least try to unruffle some feathers, since information isn't being released in the way everybody expected. I mean, there's all kinds of damage control things that he could have done. But again, this is Trump bull in a china shop, not Trump politician. Trump's never really been a politician. Even a decade in now, he still really doesn't know how to be one of those. He just says the first thing that comes off the top of his head. Sometimes it works well. Other times it does not. This is one of the reasons why I wish a lot of his press conferences didn't go for 93 minutes plus. I'm just being honest.
No, and I get that. And then with Trump, you have to take the good with the bad, and I understand that as well. I just wish that everyone involved here, from Trump to Bondi to Johnson to Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody involved here would have been a little clearer in what they were saying. You kind of said it before. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the clearest one in all the clips that we played.
That should terrify everyone.
That should terrify everyone. I agree. But here's what shouldn't terrify everyone, folks. We're at halftime here on the show, so it's time for the halftime grift. It's my favorite part of the show. I want to thank you guys for coming here behind enemy lines with us. I'm Gene. He's Rick. Ross will hopefully be back on Friday with us for Buffoonology 101. Who the hell knows? I lose track of him. I don't know if it's the community service or if it's the parole board or what's going on there. But he should be back with us sometime soon. So please check us out wherever you see us on social media. Like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Rumble. Check us out on X. Follow me on X at Berardelli. And I want to talk about a little bit of business we've been doing. Of course, check out buffoonoftheweek.com. We just did a video was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday, about Andrew Cuomo re-entering the race for mayor in the People's Republic of New York City. And you can read that article, check out that video at buffoonoftheweek.com. We also have merch at shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. And I want to unveil some merch that we first unveiled on Freedom Chat yesterday. It was an exclusive for our followers there. I want to show you guys some brand new merch that dropped, inspired by news this week that Andrew Cuomo was indeed re-entering the race for mayor. It's our brand new Cuomo for Jail t-shirt. It's a parody of his campaign logo. You can see it right there. It's available in several different colors and many different sizes. And if you order in the next 2 weeks or so, you can use promo code PRNYC, which stands for People's Republic of New York City, and get an extra 10% off of any merch that you buy on the store. But especially check out the brand new, just released, just dropped, as the kids say, Cuomo for Jail shirt. What do you think about that one, pal? You wanna pick one up right now? I can hook you up with one.
You know, if I lived in New York, I might, but I don't. So I don't know.
Oh,
I still might buy one.
This will work out no matter where you are. Everyone knows the name Cuomo and associates it with buffoonery. Whether you're talking about Andrew or Chris, either one you might think may need to go to the pokey. So
I was going to say some of the folks around me might be confused if we're talking about little Q-tip or big Q-tip, but it still might be worth the wear.
Oh, I think it's absolutely look, that thing is beautiful. Are you kidding? So check it out, shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. All right, so second half of the show, I kind of winging it here, but I wanted to talk about this brewing story that the Trump administration has referred Adam Schiff, of all people. I'm shocked in even saying it. The man who is the bastion of law and order. The man who is so straight, his neck is like a pencil. Adam Schiff, say it isn't so. The man is under a federal investigation for possible mortgage fraud.
Well, I mean, this is kind of delicious because, you know, if you listen to Adam Schiff, as far as he's concerned, anytime he walks into a room, you hear the cha-chung from Law and Order, because that's just the kind of guy that he is. But is it not interesting how many Democrats are suddenly being caught up in mortgage fraud situations? Because, you know, Letitia James tried to get Trump for that, basically, and they found out she was doing the same thing. Now, all of a sudden, one of the other people that was screaming the loudest about it is kind of mixed up in the same kind of stuff. And look, I'm not one to throw stones because, you know, I'm not exactly sure that I should have been able to get into the house that I got into because they did a couple of little creative accountant things, but that was over 10 years ago. So I'm pretty sure statute of limitations is gone.
Well, I can also tell you that I was actually working in the real estate field before I became a lawyer. And let's just say there was a lack of regulation. And there was certainly some creative financing going on. But one thing that always remained the same was that if you are purchasing or refinancing an owner-occupied property, the rate was lower than it would be for a second property, a vacation property, a rental property that you wanted to earn income from, something that was not owner-occupied. You get a higher rate. And that's basically the story here. And you brought up Letitia James. It's virtually the same story. I pulled this from Fox News. This aired earlier today. And I think it's a pretty good summary of what's going on with this developing story with Adam Schiff. For those of us who have lives and day jobs and don't get to follow the news all day, let's show the clip and then we'll react a little bit to it here. This is from Fox News's Faulkner Focus.
Hey, you want Adam Schiff brought to justice. I would love to see him brought to justice. That jail?
I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He is a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens, but Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife.
President Trump is targeting Democrat Senator Adam Schiff over possible mortgage fraud. Fox obtained a criminal referral sent to the Justice Department from the Federal Housing Finance Agency director. It cites actions that look like fraud. The allegation, Mr. Schiff appears to have falsified records to get a favorable loan rate. Federal housing investigators found Schiff engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation on 5 Fannie Mae loans. They involve 2 homes owned by Schiff, one in California, one in Maryland. Schiff signed an affidavit in 2011 certifying the Maryland house as his primary residence. However, he was a California congressman at the time.
And this is significant because if you are representing, back then in Congress, a district in California, and you claim that your primary residence is not within that district, that disqualifies you from representing that district in California. So what's the deal here, Adam Schiff? I think it's to me, Rick, this is one of those open secrets out there where members of Congress will purchase other properties and they will live there primarily because they are so married to their work in D.C. that in essence, it becomes their primary residence. I think Adam Schiff's family all moved from California to Maryland because, again, nicer house. I hear that the residence that he had in California, that he does have in California, is just a very small apartment, which wouldn't fit his whole family. At least that's what I've been seeing in news stories. I'll see if I can find that. But this seems like one of those open secrets that maybe Trump is trying to weaponize, in my opinion, because, again, this was leaked information, leaked to Fox News. They obtained it, quote unquote. And, some may argue that's just as bad as what Democrats were doing to Republicans. And I would say, well, so what? If the shoe's on the other foot now, these things happen. I don't like it, but these things happen. What do you make of this? Is this like something that we should really be concentrating on, or is this vendetta in real time?
Well, I don't know. So I get why it would come across as a vendetta, but I think for Trump, it's more about showing that, the same people that came after me for doing what I was supposedly doing are doing it themselves. I don't think it's as much about vendetta as it is kind of showing everybody, here's a peek behind the curtain for some things that you may not have known. Now, could it be vindictive? I mean, it is Trump. Let's just be honest. But at the same time, I mean, this is a rather, not so private secret because almost everybody plays these games. I mean, hell, I bought a car 5 years ago.
I'm advising you not to talk about the car on air. Things may be used against you later on in the court of law. Just saying.
Anyway. But I bought a car 5 years ago. That's where I'm leaving it because the guy who's suddenly decided he's my attorney says I shouldn't say anything else. But you guys get where I'm going with it. They play these games all the time, and it may be something where somebody said, "Hey, if you check this box, we can get you a lower rate," and then they were like, "Well, we're going to get in trouble," so then everybody just moves out there. And again, if California, that one little probably studio or 1-bedroom apartment was probably costing him $2-3 million to freaking live there, depending on how long he's owned it. So why wouldn't they move where there's more space?
Yeah, but you don't have to put into an affidavit that that's your primary residence.
Well, if you're trying to get a better rate, you would, though.
Listen, it could be Here's an example of how this could be just a Scribner error. It may not be Adam Schiff's primary residence, but is Adam Schiff married? Did they take the loan? If he's married, did they take the loan out jointly? And if so, could it not be possible that it is his wife's primary residence and she stays there for the majority of her time and that's their workaround? Entirely possible.
Possible.
So I don't want to vilify, as much as I don't like Adam Schiff and as much as I think he's a buffoon, I don't want to vilify him just based upon documents. It certainly merits an investigation. But I'm not ready to, break out the gallows and start marching them towards them. By the way, our friend Zelda is saying, Rick trying to out himself versus Gene being like, nope.
Yeah.
Laughing at you.
She laughs at me all the time. It's just,
it's a pattern I notice.
It happens. But I mean, but shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh.
Yeah, you did. Let's get back to the clip then, and you can try to recover it. See, Zelda, you did it. You knocked him off course.
Schiff responded to President Trump's attack.
So the president today is accusing me of fraud, and the basis of his accusation is that I own a home in Maryland and I own a home in California. big surprise. Members of Congress, almost all of them own more than one home or rent.
That's not the basis of what he's saying, Senator. He's saying you lied on an affidavit. It's not the basis that you have more than one. You're allowed to own 20 homes, 30 homes, 100 homes if you can. Have at it. What you did was lied, is what they're saying. So don't try to reframe the way that the president's saying it. Typical lawyer, typical legal nonsense. Adam Schiff trying to shift blame. And frankly, if he's trying to shift blame in that respect, does that mean that the smoke that they're seeing here is indeed representative of a fire that may be there for Adam Schiff?
Well, I mean, think about this from this perspective. They knew everything that Al Capone was doing, but they knew they couldn't get him for all the things that he was doing, so they got him for tax evasion. If you're willing, this is part of what comes with, you know, the whole idea of broken windows policing, etc. If you're willing to do the small things and you get away with the small things, eventually that leads to bigger things. So,
by the way, I have to interrupt because Zelda just said, yes, I have done good, to be fair. Though it's easy to knock his thought train off course. Thoughts?
Yeah, most people call that a train of thought, ma'am. Not
well,
thought train.
She condensed it down to a thought train. How is your thought train? Is it okay?
No, not tonight.
Zelda would like to know if you remember what you were just talking about.
Wait, what? Who is this? Where am I? I don't know.
Back to the clip. Back to the clip.
More than one home because we're required to be on both coasts. So he is using my ownership of 2 homes to make a false claim of mortgage fraud.
Maybe he didn't read the affidavit or the charging form against him. That's not why he's in trouble. He's in trouble for using one residence over the other to get a lower loan rate. Knowing that that was wrong, well, we'll have to find out if that's what he knew or didn't know, but that's what he did. This from a former federal prosecutor.
You can't claim residency in both California and Maryland. So he's got a lot of issues because it seems like however this breaks down, it looks like he's saying one thing here, one thing there. He can't be a resident of both places. So it's either was he lying in California or lying in Maryland to get more favorable loan terms.
And again, I just want to throw that caveat out there. The devil's in the details. If his wife is on the application and his wife has claimed Maryland as the residence, that could be a possibility here. This is why I don't like prosecutors so much, because for them, everything's very black and white, very, up and down, left and right. There's never any room for nuance in the evaluation of facts here.
Well, for me, this kind of brings up another question. If he's claiming Maryland is his primary residence, don't you have to live in the state that you're technically, when you run for election, don't you have to have a primary residence in the state that you're running for?
Yes, and he does have a residence in California. I'm going to look this up while you're talking here, but I believe it's like a small apartment, and he certainly maintains it, but it's just a matter of residency is not necessarily where you are the majority of the time, although that can be a factor in determining it. It's where you claim. Now, in New York, you are allowed to claim multiple residencies. I litigated a case about this when it came to an issue of service of process, and also an issue of venue where a case was initiated, in what court, in what county. And there is case law that says you can be a resident of, even within New York, of more than one county. But if Adam Schiff has just an apartment in California, and he has a gorgeous palatial house in Maryland, one would tend to think that he resides with his family in Maryland and is just maintaining a sham residency in California in order to keep getting elected.
Well, see, that's kind of my take on it, though, because if dude is basically just maintaining the residence in California just so he can keep running in California, I think that's something that might need to start being addressed more than whether this is mortgage fraud or not. Because to me, this is bordering on election fraud. Because
it may well be. It may well be. I'm actually looking through some articles right now to see what people in California are saying about this. Apparently, this was brought up on the campaign trail in 2024 as well, I believe. Let me see what the date of this article is. Yes, November of 2023. Back when he first announced that he was running for Senate, there were questions raised about his residency. And his response was the same thing. All members of Congress have a residence on both coasts, et cetera, et cetera. But the article says, and I'm going to bring up this article. Let me share this for everyone to see, because this is a very interesting find. This is from KCRA Channel 3 in California. And I just want to pull up this article here. I want you to, so the article is California U.S. Senate candidate Schiff says Maryland residency is a non-issue. But when you read through the details of the article, I'm going to highlight this right here. I hope you guys can see it. I'm going to read it for everybody to see who can't see it. Schiff's campaign confirmed he has never claimed the property in Maryland as a principal residence on his local property taxes in Montgomery County since he purchased it in 2003. But noted the home is considered a principal residence on his mortgage because the characterization ensures it's not considered a vacation home. Now, I don't know about, I haven't done mortgage work in a very long time. I've done real estate work in a long time. But he said on multiple FHA applications it was his primary residence, but didn't say on his taxes that it was his primary residence. And now they're claiming that he only claimed it to be his principal residence on his mortgage because it would ensure that it wasn't a vacation home. That just doesn't jibe to me. I think that he's actually doing a form of fraud on the mortgage bank and escaping a higher rate of interest, in my opinion, here.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thing now that it's being broken down. I mean, you've got the fact that, well, you know, it's no big deal because everybody in Congress that, you know, lives in the West Coast also has property on the East Coast. But look, if you were declaring the Maryland property as your primary residence, because remember, it was him that checked the box, apparently, not the spouse. Now, if the spouse is on the loan, then the case could be made that it's her primary residence. But again, wouldn't they have a separate box for that? Because I know when my ex-wife wasn't even on our note, but she still had to go through and sign a bunch of stuff and check a bunch of boxes. So that's why I'm thinking, I don't know if it could be her primary residence argument would fly unless they both check that box. And nobody's saying whether they have or not. But the fact that he's claiming that it is his primary residence in one place and then claiming that it's not in another, that leads me more to the whole fraud thing. And again, I have more concerns about whether this man should be even eligible to be able to run for Senate and Congress when he's claiming run for Senate in California when he's claiming his primary residence is now in Maryland to begin with. I have a huge problem with that. I never have like the idea of, I mean, Congress critters get in trouble for running in districts they don't live in. It's happened at least 2 or 3 times that I know of. So a senator to be, well, I'm still running in California, but now that I'm in DC, I live in Maryland. Then you need to fucking run in Maryland.
Was that your impression of a politician?
Well, politician or
is every politician Kermit the Frog?
It's not easy being green.
Kermit the Frog here. You know, yeah, I mean, my God. What has the show devolved into?
This happens every time I'm on. I don't know why you keep asking me back.
Because it's fun. Yeah, the voice that Rick is using is hilarious. People are laughing. We are laughing. See, now you get to make fun of Zelda for this low-hanging fruit of a joke here.
Well, I mean, to her, all fruit has to be low-hanging. She's only 4'11".
No.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
I didn't know oh my God. Do you know I have a legendary set of short jokes that I have never unleashed on anyone except a few people? Now you've given me this information.
You just used the word legendary while talking about Zelda.
No, I was talking about my slate of jokes.
But you're referencing Zelda. Legend.
Really?
Zelda,
I got to. Oh, true. Yes, there you go. Very good. I was a Sega Genesis kid. I was not a Nintendo kid. I have to tell this one story, and I have to apologize to my friend Jenya for telling this story. But this was the year was 1995, I think it was. We were still in high school, and we had some journalism symposium that we were attending at NYU because we were both on the school paper. And after it was over, we had some time. We were kind of released from our schedule, and we were walking around Greenwich Village around NYU. And my very, very good friend who I love and adore, she is, I think, 5 foot, somewhere around the same height as Zelda. And we were going, she dragged me like shoe shopping. I was like, oh God, whatever. Because we're in the village and there's all these shops there. Long story short, there was a thigh-high boot in one of the stores that was just as tall as her. And I happened to bring it over to her to see if she wanted to try it on. This little girl chased me out of this store for a couple of blocks all through Greenwich Village. It was one of the best visual sight gags I've ever done. So, had to share that one. Jenya, I still love you, my dear. And I think about that story all the time. And by the way, yes, I know I'm old, and I don't care. You can call me old as much as you want to. I simply don't care. I own my age, unlike some people.
I'd been out of high school for 4 years at that point, so I feel even older.
I own my age, okay? Not like some other people who try to hide it. You know? It's not like I'm shrinking. I'm not shrinking from the challenge here.
I don't try to hide my age. It's not my fault that you look 20 years older than I do and I'm older than you.
Oh, please. I am young and virile compared to you. Try and get lower. I can't get any lower. I got a wall back here. I can't scooch down lower. All right. Anyways.
I mean, I can.
Well, I know you can. Nothing is beneath you.
Well, except for Zelda, because she's short.
Coffee Grinder graduated in 1980. I wouldn't admit that in public, my friend. But you know, hey, God, I was 2 years old. Anyways, my friend, we've come to that time. It's final thought time. This is the part of the show where you talk about any little thing you want to talk about here. I don't even want to know what it is. You can just spring it on me, whatever. What's on your mind, pal?
Well, because of all the outrage on social media, this is my final thought for everybody who was on the Trump train until like 5 minutes ago. There have been lots of good things happening. Some not great, but a lot of good things have been happening. And I get it. He just called a bunch of people that were voting for him until 5 minutes ago stupid. That was not a good thing. But let's not forget that no man is perfect. Everybody gets frustrated and says shit they don't mean. It happens all the time. You can pull up my tapes if you don't believe me, because it's happened to me. So I get it. If this is an important issue for you, keep fighting to get the truth out another way. But don't just say because he's pissed me off now, I'm going to start voting for the Democrats. Don't do that, because you're turning the keys back over to the people that have been slowly driving us off a cliff for over the last 100 years, and we didn't know it until it was almost too late. So that's my final thought. Be pissed at him all you want. Be pissed at the situation all you want. But remember, it's an 80-20 situation. Put the Epstein in the 20. If you can still relate with the other 80, then follow Reagan's rule. If I can agree with you 80% of the time and disagree with you 20% of the time, I'm still going to find a way to work with you. That's always a good rule of thumb.
All right. Invoking Reagan, always a good thing to do in a final thought. My final thought is really centered around the People's Republic of New York City and this mayoral race. And I see all this hand-wringing from conservatives across the country worried about Zohran Mamdani winning a Democratic primary in the People's Republic of New York City. By the way, in other shocking news, sky is blue and rain is wet. This was going to happen this whole time. I don't know why you thought otherwise. Sure, Andrew Cuomo was a name that everybody knew. Eric Adams is an incumbent. Both are seen as very flawed people. But now I see all this hand-wringing of, we must stop Mamdani now, because how are we going to live with New York City having a socialist mayor? How soon we forget a name like Bill de Blasio? The OG socialist mayor. Everybody survived that, right? And even if Zohran Mamdani is the end for the People's Republic of New York City, it is an end that the people have chosen. Now, sure, Only 13% of the population voted in this primary. Sure, it was only a Democrat primary, but when you're dealing with a city that has somewhere around between, depending on what you're talking about and when you're talking about, either a 6-to-1 Democrat to Republican ratio or an 8-to-1 Democrat to Republican ratio, you're not going to be surprised when a popular Democrat, even a popular socialist, flexes their muscles and wins. There's a lot of money-ish interests in the People's Republic of New York right now that are concerned about Mamdani, and they should be. There's a lot of union workers out there, older union workers, who are concerned that they live in one of those quote-unquote white neighborhoods that Mamdani wants to tax more than others, and you should be concerned. But your concern should have been at the ballot box. I say let it burn. Let's burn it down. Let's really have it be the People's Republic of New York City. Live in your decision whether you voted or didn't vote. I don't think New York needs to be bailed out. I think New York maybe needs to suffer for about 4 years. I think New York needs to have the stock exchange leave. I think New York 1%ers should get out of the city. Maybe head down to Miami. I hear it's pretty good down there. Sit in your mistake like the insipid children that you are, Mamdani supporters. I don't think anything needs to be done here. Just let it all burn down. And that's my final thought for the show. And that's it, pal. We got through it. Thank you again so much for helping me out tonight and stepping into pinch hit for Galloway again and his bailing on us one more time.
At least this time we didn't come hang out in the chat. I was like, dude, really? I'm sitting in for you and you're going to come hang out in the chat?
Yeah, you remember that? That was wild. Tell everybody what's going on with KLRN Radio. All the people on KLRN, shout out to all you. You guys are the real MVPs, always, every week for this show. And I appreciate each and every one of you. What's going on with the channel, pal?
Well, right now we're sitting at 589 hanging out with us over on our side here. In just a minute, I'll be back up again with Rick and, well, myself and Ordnance J. Packard, who's hanging out in the wings on my side.
40.
And then that'll be us for the night. And then we'll head over to our SHR Media friends for Edge of Liberty. So we'll be running till about midnight Eastern time. Usually I run about 2 hours longer, but BZ was filling in on a show or sitting in on a show that I normally do on Tuesday night instead of doing his own because I was off doing birthday related stuff. Then tomorrow I'll be back doing the Rick Robinson show. Right now it's on a shorter schedule and a later time just because of the issues that I'm having. It gives me more time to get things set up. So that's going to be 11 to 1 for the immediate future, Tuesday through Friday, until we can get things restored. And then I may shift the times back around a little bit. And other than that, you can find me on X.
I got to write this down. Shorter schedule for Rick. Got it. Because every other schedule has been big and tall.
Dude, this is my sixth. This is my 5th hour of radio, and I'm about to go into my 6th for the day.
Listen,
so
don't make your problems my problems. All right, don't make your problems my problems. Even though I made my problem your problem. So
I was gonna say you made your problem my problem, and I was nice enough to come to you.
That's not what I was talking about. There's been all these investigations. No, sorry. No, in all sincerity, thank you so much for everything that you do. Guys, check out KLRN Radio. Check out Rowdy Rick 73 over on X. Listen to everything going on at KLRN. Got a lot of great hosts over there with a lot of great insight. Check them out. But for now, on this show at least, it's time to shut this sucker down. From my friend Rowdy Rick Robinson, I am Gene Berardelli. We were Behind Enemy Lines, and right now, we're out of here. And it's time to play our motherfucking anthem. Good night, folks.
We're not allowed, not without electoral.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause love pays blues behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it truth feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in